You're listening to The Moose and the Loose, your 10 minutes action-packed financial podcast with your host, Mikey Hu. Hey, what's up, Market Moose? Mike from The Moose on the Loose. I hope you're doing well on this Friday. I have to tell you, this week was an emotional week, a very busy week on my side, on my personal side, as my oldest son started working. He just completed his training, and then he started working. He got injured on top of that, but he's doing fine. My daughter just finished high school, and that was like a crazy moment. And then my youngest one just finished primary school. So everything is happening this week, and it got me thinking about a lot of things. We were at my daughter's school this week because the director, they were giving the diplomas and stuff, and obviously you have the end of speech, and something struck me when he said, because he was like, oh, I'm going to give you those tips for the future, dear students. Keep those in mind. They're going to help you out, achieving your dreams or whatever. And then one thing struck me is when he started to list all of those things and then mention you should fix realistic goals. And I'm like, fixing realistic goals, achievable goals. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Because if you're shoot for the moon, you may just get discouraged. But at the same time, I don't know. It felt like a terrible advice. And that just stuck to me. And then the same week, we were in Burlington on Tuesday, as I said, because I completely forgot to record a podcast. And we were maybe 5 or 6 parents, and we were just being there for the kids. And at the end of the day, we were in Burlington. It's a pretty nice city in Vermont, and they were doing a rally. So they had 40 questions, and they had to found stuff in the streets, which was very, very cool. But during that time, it was just more relaxing time for the parents because we were just having an eye on those kids, but just sitting there. And we were talking about pretty much anything, right? Just small talk. But someone there, another parent, knew that I took a sabbatical year to travel the world with my children, when I was in my 30s. And then she said, yeah, how did you do that? Because it doesn't make any sense. You cannot actively do this unless you win the lottery. And then she said, if I want to do this today, I would have to quit my job, and my husband would have to quit her job as well, which doesn't make any sense. And it's not realistic. And then I just told her, well, actually, this is exactly what I did. That I had to quit my job, and my wife did the same thing, and this is what happened. And it was not realistic to think that with 3 young children in the middle of our 30s that we could actually hit pause on our life and buy a small RV and just start traveling the world like we were nomads. And that's what we did. And how we did that, because it was not realistic. It was not what the society is telling us to fit in that box. Go to college, do their stuff, do hard work, set realistic goals, and literally get married, get 2 kids, a dog, and a house, and then you're gonna be set. And that plan could work for people, but I don't think it's the only plan, because it's not a bad plan. Don't get me wrong. I think that if you do that, and if this is what you want, if it's your dream, it's gonna work out and it's gonna be fine for you. But what if we tell people to not be realistic? What if we instead tell people, you know what? Dream bigger. Think about the things that doesn't make any sense right now, and that's the most important part, sit down and imagine everything's on the table. Imagine that everything is possible. How would you do it? Because it's one thing to dream and it's one thing to act. And this is exactly what happened with our trip. Is instead of just dreaming about traveling the world with our kids and waking up by the beach, and it's going to be so much fun, no time constraint, no delays, nobody wanted us to do something on a specific day. Yeah, that's just a dream. But now you have to be realistic in how you're going to make it happen. So we started to work on a plan, and it took us almost 2 years to achieve that. And a big part of that plan actually include a lot of hard work. So we bought an RV up front to try it, to experiment, to like make a lot of mistakes during like small 2-3 days trips, just to learn how that would work. And then I started working late. So I kept my regular day job and I was working on DSR between 8 to 10 p.m. Pretty much like every work week days. And it sucked. I have to tell you, it sucked because I was burnt at 8, but I was always thinking about that dream and thinking about how cool it would be to travel with my children and my wife. And then it got me that additional boost of adrenaline to say, okay, you know what, Mike? It's only 2 hours. Like just work from 8 to 10, and at 10 you can stop. So basically just canceling Netflix for like a year and a half and just working. But instead of trying to fit in the box, instead of trying to get realistic goals, I just realized that if I put everything on the table and I consider that everything could be achieved, and then I just have to know how I would do it and starting to find solutions instead of starting to find reasons why I cannot do it, well, then everything will become possible, even if it's a crazy dream, because everything is possible. You just need to know what is included in that, what is required, and then you determine if you are willing to make those sacrifices. Some people will say, well, you know what, Mike? I'm too burnt. I cannot do that. I cannot add like even 30 minutes a day to do another project. And that's fine. But you just have to accept that. You just have to accept that you are not able to do it. And maybe one day you're going to find something that drives you so much that it becomes an obsession. And then you're going to tell yourself, you know what? I don't care if I'm tired. I'm still going to do it. And this is the speech I would have given to those high school finishers. They're about to enter almost their adult life, making important decisions in their life. But in reality, they have like, I don't know, 50, 70 years in front of them. So might as well just have fun. Might as well push the limits and see what's really possible instead of like letting people around you telling you what is actually working and what could be possible. So fixing realistic goal in my mind is a terrible advice. I never told that to my children. And actually I just like say, okay, what's going to be possible? And just I'm going to end that with a discussion I had with my younger one. Because, of course, you know, when you're like 10, 12, you dream to become a professional sports player in whatever sports you like. Like, that's the dream of many, many, many boys, right? So my son was like, yeah, I would like that. That happened maybe like at the age of 9 or 10. It's like, I would like to be a professional soccer player. And I'm like, cool. Okay. So now, from now on, if you want to do that, well, that also means that you'll have to be a lot better than anybody else. And in order to be a lot better than anybody else, well, you'll have to play with your ball all the time. So you have to get your soccer ball and just have fun with it. I mean, you can practice, you can dribble, you can shoot, you can do whatever you want. But if you're not doing this, if you're not improving your skills, it's impossible. Like, it's not going to happen. So instead of telling him, oh, you cannot do it, or instead, oh yeah, of course you can become a soccer player professional. I mean, like, let's be realistic, like, right? Chances are very slim, but they're none if you're not willing to put in the work. I mean, none of those professional players got there just by talent. So you need to practice. You need to love the game. So if you're passionate about it enough, it's going to happen. But then you have to be willing to put in the work. So we got that discussion, and he realized the mountain of work that was required. And then he thought, you know what? I think I'm just going to have fun playing soccer. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I think you're right. But if you ever change your mind, you know that this plan still exists. It's still on the table, but it requires ultimate sacrifice. You know, if you want to do extraordinary things, we often heard that we have to be out of the extraordinary and everything else, right? So your process needs to be extraordinary as well. And that's pretty much what is about not fixing realistic goal, and instead just put everything on the table and consider that everything is possible. So, all right, Moose, I hope that you will enjoy your weekend. I surely will. It's going to be fully packed, actually, so it's going to be fun. Enjoy summer, and we're going to talk again on Monday morning. So until then, don't forget to stay invested.
Hey, welcome to the disclaimer. If you're listening to The Moose and the Loose, you cannot really expect me to give you buy or sell recommendation or financial advice, right? You're here for fun, you're here for information and some entertainment. But I am not your financial advisor, I am not your broker, so therefore I'm not liable if you're losing money after listening to the podcast. If you're looking for some advice, go see a professional. If not, you can enjoy the show and do your due diligence after it.